Got her all built up. Actually got one quick ride on her already, but we're gonna go take her out and see how she climbs as well as how she descends. The Scor 4060 short travel version. Boom, there she is. Just a gorgeous looking bike. And the one ride I had on it, loved it so far. So a little hot out today. Man, one of those bikes, you just get on it and you feel comfortable. God, it pedals so good. It's just right there for you. Call me crazy, but this thing feels like a Yeti. The pedaling platform is so close to a Yeti. I can notice the little bit longer wheelbase compared to the following. Man, I'm really vibing with this. Can really get low and in the bike, which I love. Whew. Man, she pedals good. Delta Link is amazing, but it's got nothing on this in the pedaling department. Wow. I'm loving the extra wheelbase. And the slacker head tube, 65.5. Woo, windy. Man, God, dude, I'd have to ride another 130 because this feels like it pedals as good or better. Opinion could change on that. Keep in mind, I got that MBA going on. Something I like to call new bike adrenaline. So, you know, opinions will change. Keep that in mind. This is not a review. This is just me giving in my thoughts. So I'm gonna pull over, adjust some stuff, and we'll get into the next down. All right, levers are good, saddle's good. Body position on this bike is perfect. It's one of my favorite trails. It's called Pat's. Nice, tight, fast, twisty, good test. It's gonna give us a little bit of everything. The dirt's always much better. Nice cornering. You know, I think I kind of like that slightly longer rear end at 433 compared to the Evil 430. It's hotter than crap today, so we're just cruising. Man, these brakes are so good. Yeah, I think Shimano updated their brakes because these feel better than my XTRs. The XTRs, I battled that wandering bite point forever. So far, no go with these, so that's a good thing. Yeah. This bike just feels comfortable. suspension feels so good. Love that double downshift. Shimano. It's a really underrated feature. You know, press it once and get 2 gears. Every time I'm back on Shimano, I just love that. Boom, right there, 2 clicks, 1 motion. Yeah, yeah, I think we're gonna switch. I just got in the mail today that knobby nick in the soft. I think we're gonna switch to that. This thing feels good, but just doesn't quite have the bite I'm looking for. But man, it rolls fast. So if you can learn to control it, it's really good. For the weight too, it's pretty unbeatable. Tight one. She gets around it pretty good. Not as good as the following, just because the, you know, longer wheelbase. But get out and hammer and the thing's just right there. Yeah. Yeah, that one's tight. Still getting used to this longer bike. Man, this thing, Spike Motors. You just sit back, spin the pedals, and man, zero bob. Like, I'm talking zero. Double click. Initial impressions are just A+. I mean, like I said, subject to change, but I'd put this thing up against any bike in the category. I only rode the Stumpy Evo once, and this once, I'm taking the Scor over the Stumpy, and that's saying a lot because I love that stump jumper. But this bike will outclimb the Stumpy. I've never ridden a Switchblade or a Ripmo, so I can't say. Compared to those, and those seem to be at the top of the class in this category, but I'd be willing to bet this is right on par. I put it right on par with the Yeti. And it rides a little bit softer than the Yeti. The Yeti can be a little stiff. But I do love the Yeti. Is probably, if this bike wasn't made by BMC, I probably wouldn't have bought it. Just new brands scare me. But since, you know, it's backed with a name like BMC, gave me a little more confidence to pull the trigger. But I probably would have bought the Yeti. A little shorter rear end than the Stumpy Evo. My only gripe with that bike was the rear end was just so long. It's nice to be back on something more slack. And then you get the 78 seat tube angle that's gonna keep this bike climbing with the best of them, paired up with the suspension design on this bike, which I don't even know what it's called. I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't even know if they have a name for it. Feels to me like if Switch Infinity and VPP had a baby. That's what this feels like. It doesn't have that Santa Cruz like overly deep gushy feel where you just feel like you can do no wrong. This one's sitting you a little bit higher up, similar to a Yeti without that, I don't want to say harsh, but that overly stiff racy feel. But yet when you pedal, like, I cannot feel the shock moving at all. It's weird. Just awesome. Yeah, this bike's gonna be a weapon. Get some lightweight wheels on here, and the way it pedals, I'm seeing 0 negatives compared to my following at much shorter travel. This thing, I'd be willing to bet this is lighter than the following that I had. Just corners so good. It's so much more calm than my following. The following was, I had to run that rear shock full slow and it was still just not calm. It just wants to jump off everything, which is, you know, what they're going for. Bike shaped skateboard. But I don't know, it's not, as much as I love that bike, it's not really my style. My style is more lightweight, climbable, but I also like, you know, stable at high speed and calm. I'm not a huge jumper, so I think that's where I think this might be the Goldilocks. Do this little drop right here. Where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. It's a fun little drop. Oh yeah. Woohoo! Yeah, I wish I had something bad to say about this thing, and I just don't. I think this thing just feels dialed. Feels light, feels insanely efficient, feels fast, feels capable, stable, you know? Rattle off all the words you need to hear, but it's just one of those bikes that you get on and instantly feel comfortable. Let's get back to the truck, wrap this thing up, and kind of just recap real quick and get out of here. Man, this bike just rides as good as it looks. I love it. I'm just so pumped on this thing. It climbs as well as it descends. It just, like, it rides like a short travel bike, you know, popping out of corners. Just feels really fast. You can ride it slow, you can ride it fast, you can put your just pedal to the floor and just ride it as fast as you want. And it rides like a short travel bike, but it has that longer and slacker head angle to give you that confidence at high speed. So just a really well thought out bike geometry. I think A+ on the geometry is just perfect. That steep seat angle keeps you climbing. I mean, your climbing position is perfect. I mean, that front end is glued to the ground. Really happy to be back on the Shimano cassette. I just really like the gapping. I feel much better in the you know, the top end of the cassette. Just a little bit more refreshed on the climbs. But yeah, and these wheels, these are the same wheels that Richie Root is running, the 1700. I believe that's the same ones he's running. That's the ones I see in the pictures. But I mean, yeah, they feel great. This is my first like non-Industry 9 wheel set since my Hightower, and really pumped on these. The engagement's great. It's got the 54 tooth engagement in the back, 350 hubs front and rear. I mean, I think this thing's dialed. These cranks are killer. Don't have to worry about snapping a carbon. Deraillier's money, cassette's money, wheels are money. I'll probably go lightweight wheel set. I'll probably get the birds, knock 1.5 pounds off this thing. It feels lighter than my following. I'm guessing mid to low 29s as is. Man, these XT brakes are killer. Just snap. That killer snappy feel to them. I just can't get codes to stay feeling money. I mean, God, these things just feel like boom. It's like hitting a wall. Just that really sharp sharp braking to them. And 180s were more than enough for me. I'm a lightweight guy at 150 pounds. 5'10", riding a medium. Man, I think Scor absolutely crushed it. I can feel BMC's input on this bike. You know, I'm sure they had a lot to do with the design of this bike, because it pedals like a short travel ripper of a bike. I mean, this might be the new Goldilocks. This might be the bike to beat. Right there with the Yeti 130 pivot switchblade, I'd assume, and the Ibis Ripmo. I mean, I'd put this bike up against any of them. I'd say this thing outclimbs the Stumpy Evo by far. And definitely outclimbs the Offering and the Hightower. And going down, it's on par. I mean, it's just right out of the box, their first, stab in an enduro bike. Absolutely home run. So, yep, this thing was a total Scor. Later.